Hey, it's Jess here. I have a really inspiring story to share with you today. And the story is about my friend Mark, who works as a server in a restaurant here in San Francisco. And a couple weeks ago, Mark was at the restaurant doing his job as a server, taking care of his tables, and he happened to have a man and a woman, an older woman, at one of his tables that he was serving them dinner, making sure that they were feeling well taken care of, having a good time. And one of Mark's gifts is being funny. So he's got a lot of good one liners and he throws some sarcasm in there. It's awesome. And he was having a good time going back and forth with this woman and really enjoying interacting with her as they were having dinner and he was taking care of them. And at one point, the guy that she was with, who happened to be her son, asked Mark, "Have you ever worked in an office before?" Mark told him no. And the guy asked him, "Would you ever want to work in an office?" And again, Mark told him, "No, I don't want to work in an office." This guy asked Mark if he would reconsider. He told Mark that he would love to have him come into the office that he worked at and meet a couple people there. And so, Mark took his information and they reconnected on the back end. And Mark went to the office just to check it out, just to see. And he told me that he was feeling skeptical about going, but one of his mentors encouraged him, there's nothing to lose, just go check it out. So he goes to this office to check it out. He's expecting, people to be in slacks and be super professional and super buttoned up. That was his perception of what the corporate world had to be like, and that was why he didn't want to go. But once he got there, he realized that it was actually a lot more casual than he had anticipated. He told me there were some people there in jeans and flip-flops. And he also came to find out once he got to the office that the guy that he met at his table was not only just an employee at this company, he was actually the CEO. He owns this company. And he was asking Mark to come in and interview, which is super, super cool. I think that's so amazing. And so Mark actually had such a wonderful time talking to everyone there while he was at the office, and they ended up offering him a job. How amazing is that? And Mark did his due diligence on his own to consider, is this the right option for me? Is it not? And, once he had his perception changed by actually going and visiting the office and seeing what it could be like and getting a better understanding of what the vision was, he actually decided that it was something that he wanted to try out. And he accepted the job. And this past week was his first week at his new job at a tech startup company here in San Francisco. And I loved this story so much because it is such a great example of someone being rewarded for being themselves. Mark wasn't even looking for a job. He wasn't looking for anything from these people at his table. He was just being himself, being funny, interacting with this woman and this man, having a really good time with them as they had dinner. And his personality and just being himself and all of that coming through really stood out to the CEO. He noticed Mark for who he is as a person. And I think it's amazing just that we can be rewarded for doing more of that. So I would encourage you, to look at the ways that you're not showing up in a way that's true to yourself. Like, what ways could you show up at your interview and be more authentic to bring a little bit more of your personality? That's something that I'm seeing as I've been working with more and more people, is that a lot of people get really focused on telling the facts instead of telling a story. And stories are what connects people. And when we tell stories, we get to add in a little bit of our own personality as well. So my challenge for you today is to see, where can you bring a little bit more of your authentic self to your job search and to the interview process, and see how that works for you. Let me know.